And the Islamic minister states that the government intends to utilize the scholarly insights gained from the Zakat conference to enhance the Zakat system in the country. Good evening and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Utma Mahmoud. Looking into the details, President Dr. Mohamed Muizz reiterates the strong support of the Maldives for Palestine's struggle for justice and peace. As the world observes International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, President Muizz called on the international community to use its economic and political power to stop Israel from continuing with its genocide against the Palestinian people. He urged the international community to unite to bring those responsible for war crimes against Palestinians to justice. Furthermore, President Muizz said that the government's support for the Palestinian cause is backed by the people living all over the nation. He highlighted the violence, discrimination and loss of livelihood Palestinians has been enduring since generations. He described their struggle as a struggle of Maldivian people as well. In his message to the international community, President Muizz called on the international community to increase cooperation with the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, as it completed 75 years of assistance to Palestine. Concerning the notorious acts of Israel, the President described Israeli war crimes as crimes against the whole multilateral system. He also noted that no other struggle is as important as the struggle for Palestinian freedom. He reiterated the country's standing in the international arena for the people of Palestine. Concluding his message, President Muizz said that a lasting solution for the crisis is an independent Palestinian state on pre-1967 borders. Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif has said that the government is committed to further strengthening collaboration with the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, on future initiatives that promote children's welfare and safety. He made the remarks as the Assistant Secretary General and Deputy Executive Director, Management Hannan Suleiman paid a courtesy call. During the meeting at the President's office, Vice President Latif expressed gratitude for UNICEF's continued support and partnership. As Chair of the Social Council, the Vice President reaffirmed the government's commitment to strengthening collaboration with UNICEF on future initiatives that promote children's welfare. During the meeting, Hannan Suleiman praised the Maldives for the remarkable progress the country has made in education, healthcare and protection of children's rights. She has also praised the country for maintaining literacy rate at nearly 100%. She expressed support for the administration's 20-year National Development Master Plan and commended the inclusion of Maldivian youth in the delegations that are working on environmental issues. Before concluding the discussion, Vice President Latif and Hannan Suleiman agreed to strengthening existing collaboration and to continue being partners in safeguarding children's rights, emphasizing the importance of a joint approach. Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Hassan has warned that strictest actions will be taken against those who break the law while working for law enforcement agency. His comments on social media came amid an investigation carried against officers suspected to have done unlawful activities while dealing with immigrants. Minister Hassan said President Dr. Mohammad Muiz has instructed to take strict actions against those that tarnishes the dignity of uniform bodies and serve a public trust on government agencies. He said an investigation is underway against officers suspected to have involved in activities that will hinder the government's efforts to solve the issue of illegal immigrants. The Maldives Police Service (MPS) has seized electronic devices belonging to suspects, according to the minister. Further updates will be issued as the investigation progresses. He stressed the government's policy of not tolerating such illegal activities to any extent and urged officers to refrain from actions that may sever public trust. Minister of Agriculture and Animal Welfare Aishat Ramila has disclosed that the government has identified and selected 5 islands for vertical farming. She made the remarks during a special program of PSM News. Speaking to PSM, the minister has said that local councils of the selected islands has now been informed about the decision. Islands selected for vertical farming are Kendikurudu, Noon Atoll, Hurdufar Ra Atoll, Nafar in Lavin Atoll, Mativeri in Alif Alif Atoll, and Kimbidu in Ta Atoll. The minister noted that procurement of structures for vertical farming is currently underway, with goods expected to arrive in early 2025. Upon receipt of these structures, the government will initiate training programs for local islanders in vertical farming techniques, providing them with additional technical support. She further noted that hydroponics and greenhouse farming are becoming increasingly popular as modern farming methods gain momentum in the country. These initiative techniques are particularly attractive to farmers as they help reduce the prevalence of plant diseases. The government's goal is to further advance agricultural practices and reduce reliance on imported goods. Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed has stated that the government intends to utilize the scholarly insights gained from the Zakat conference to enhance the Zakat system of the country. Speaking at the closing ceremony of International Zakat Conference, he emphasized the significance of the event, noting that while it may not be immediately evident to all, it holds great importance for the nation's future. The minister expressed his expectation for improved outcomes by applying the knowledge gathered during the conference. The one-day conference covered a range of critical topics related to Zakat, including the unalterable components of Sharia law and modern issues that may arise in the administration of Zakat. Discussions also focused on broadening the concept of Zakat payees, integrating modern innovations, and conducting further research on the topic. Participants submitted 24 research papers to Zakat House during the conference. The International Zakat Conference 2024 aims to promote a sustainable Zakat system in the Maldives, bringing together scholars, practitioners, and policymakers to explore strategies for strengthening Zakat administration. The event positions Zakat as a crucial instrument for social welfare and economic stability. Participants included representatives from various Maldivian institutions as well as scholars from Malaysia. The government has said that the ongoing project to develop roads in Male and Vilumale will be completed before the end of the term of the current administration. Speaking to PSM News, Minister of State for Construction and Infrastructure Ibrahim Nazim said that the project is ongoing at a steady pace, expressing confidence the roads will be developed before the end of the term. The government in its first year has secured the finances from China to conduct the project. A team of Chinese experts has also visited the sites and completed a survey. Nazim said that the feasibility study for the project is also completed and related documents will be submitted to the ministry soon. He said that the issue of flooding the capital will be solved upon completion of the project. The project is funded by $100 million grant from China and the practical work will commence next year. Minister of Construction and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib has said that the 50 projects awarded to the Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC) by the previous administration did not commence before the end of the term. Speaking to PSM News, Minister Muttalib said that the budget allocated to the ministry for 2024 was $233 million, although the projects cost more than $2.5 billion. He said the previous administration has awarded more than 300 projects and allocated very little financing for the projects. He said that many of those projects were awarded to state-owned MTCC, Road Development Corporation RDC and Mala Water and Sewerage Company MWSC, while these companies lack the capacity to conduct such projects. He also noted that 50 ongoing projects that were handed over to the new administration are now complete amid the difficulties. Furthermore, Mr. Muttalib said $58 million was allocated for development projects this year, which were spent on ongoing projects. He noted that the new administration was able to start only 2 projects as completely new projects in the past year. The government has completed the evaluation of proposals submitted by 3 local councils to acquire uninhabited islands. Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works Adam Sharif said 2 island councils and 1 atoll council have submitted proposals to acquire uninhabited islands so far, in accordance with the decision of President Dr. Mohamed Muizz to let councils acquire islands for economic activities. Minister Sharif announced that the ministry has completed evaluation of proposals submitted by local councils in accordance to the policy of the President. He said evaluation reports of those 3 councils will be submitted to the President's office in the coming week. Final decisions on such proposals will be made by the President. Earlier this year, President Dr. Mohamed Muizz pledged to make it easier for the councils to obtain permits to operate in income-generating businesses. He stated that the administration aims to make all the islands and island communities self-reliant and self-sufficient. As such, he announced that uninhabited islands will be leased to the councils for economic activities. The islands will be leased for a period of 10 to 25 years. We will now look into the details of a business news.
The cows were herded into trailer boxes at the Geronimo Santa Teresa crossing, Ciudad Juarez, where ranchers from all over northern Mexico come to put their cows in quarantine to later export them to the United States. Not knowing when the suspension will be lifted, the cattle ranchers have chosen to return their cattle to their ranches of origin and regretted the situation, saying that the suspension and transfer of the cattle will represent substantial losses for them. Some of the ranchers who were transferring cattle said that their ranches were more than 15 hours away from the border, while others opted to take their cattle to rented facilities closer to the border to store them there until the issue is resolved. The cattle ranchers requested that the Mexican government addresses the problem as soon as possible so that trade between the two countries can be re-established. The case was identified in Chiapas state, where in the 1970s a factory developed millions of sterile male NWS flies in order to reduce wild populations. Female screwworms mate only once and do not reproduce if they do so with the sterile screwworms. Mexico decreed the plant's closure in 2013, 10 years after Chiapas state was declared free of the pest.
IMF approves third review of Sri Lanka's $2.9 billion bailout, but warns of risks.
Once the International Monetary Fund IMF Executive Board approval is given, a further tranche of about $337 million in funds is expected to be released to Sri Lanka. Dissanayake also outlined plans to complete a $12.5 billion debt restructuring with bondholders in December. He said there are plans for Sri Lanka to enter into individual agreements with bilateral creditors including Japan, China and India needed to complete a $10 billion debt restructuring. Disanayake's Marxist-Lenin National People's Power NPP coalition won a record 159 seats in the 225-member parliament in a general election last week. But he urged parliament members that time is of the essence. Dissanayake will have to present an interim budget in the next few weeks, as well as find ways to reduce taxes and increase welfare, which were his key election pledges, without derailing the IMF program.
Slot won not to write off Sunday's opponents, Manchester City, despite their recent struggles.
Speaking at a press conference, Arne Slot dismissed any notion that Liverpool can expect an easy day at the office when they host the reigning champions at Anfield. Guardiola's side's poor form of late has been compiled by a burgeoning injury list, with Mateo Kovacic joining Ballon d'Or winner Rodri on the sidelines, leaving a gaping hole in the middle of the park that has allowed opponents to play through City. The four-time reigning Premier League winners followed up a 5-match losing streak, the longest on Pep Guardiola's illustrious managerial resume. With a 3-3 draw at home to Feyenoord in the Champions League on Tuesday, blowing a 3-0 advantage with 15 minutes to go. City's porous defence have leaked 17 goals in their last 6 matches, with Tottenham Hotspur putting 4 past them without replying in their last Premier League outing. Liverpool, meanwhile, are the informed team in Europe, having dispatched reigning European champions Real Madrid 2-0 on Wednesday. They sit first in the Champions League table as the only team with a perfect 5 wins from 5 and have the chance to extend their lead atop the Premier League to 11 points with a win over second place City.
Mohammad Zaki says he has, since the age of 15, been restoring and renovating century-old books that have been damaged, but withstood the test of time nonetheless.
As a teenager, Zaki said he was fascinated by a workshop in his neighborhood of Darb al-Ahmar, where he was taken in by the owner and taught the craft, which became a hobby for him. Zaki works on rebinding and renovating books, some of which he says are over a century old, using handmade crafting, which he says makes the restoration process more accurate and valuable. Zaki, 69, said his workshop has restored and renovated over 1,000 books throughout the years.
That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.
ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸೋದಂ ಅಣ್ಣಮುಂದ ಬದಲ್ತಕ ತರಕ್ಕಿಗೆ ಮಶ್ರೂತಂ ಹಿಂಗಾ ನುಹಿಂಗಾ ಗೊತ್ಗೆ ಮೌಲುಮಾತ ಆಮು ರೈತುನ್ನ ಮುಹಿಮುವಾನೆ ಮಿಕಂಕಂಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಫಹುಗೆ ತಫ್ಸೀಲಿ ಮೌಲುಮಾತು ಗೆನಿಸ್ತೇನಿ ಮಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮು